Hey all, it's Alma with the Cat's Pajamas, and today I'm going to show you how to create this card using masking. We'll be using these cute images from our Craitter camp set. We'll be using the raccoon, a sentiment, and the sentiment panel. I'm going to start by stamping the panel in Marvy Black. And now the sentiment. For this card, I'm going to be using the Misused Sentiment, stamped in Marvy ink, and then I'm going to set that aside. Now let's stamp the masks. I like using Post-it notes for my masks. It gives that little bit of stick that won't pull up the paper, and I can use them again and again. For this card, I'll need 3 of these cute little guys. After I stamp them, I'm going to fussy cut each image out, making sure that I'm cutting on the line. Since the head and arms are what we need most of, I'll cut those parts out, and I'll leave the bottom part of the post-it uncut. I also want to mention that I stamped as close to the top as I possibly could, so that I have the most amount of sticky at the top of the head. Now I've gone ahead and fussy cut the 3 raccoons out, as well as the little sign that we just stamped. And now we can stamp the front panel. The first raccoon is going to look like it's up front in front of all the other raccoons. So I'm going to position him almost in the center and then cover him with one of the masks. I'll ink the raccoon up again. I'm inking from the middle of the raccoon to the top of his ears and overlapping the raccoon with the first raccoon that I stamped. And then I'm going to stamp another. And now when I remove the mask, you can see that the other raccoons look like they're standing behind the first one. And if you're missing a line, don't be afraid to add it in with the marker. Now let's keep going. Place a mask over the raccoon, ink up, and stamp over the masked raccoon onto the blank area. Remove the mask, and you see how it's peeking behind the first raccoon? Now let's really get going. We're going to start moving the masks and stamping and moving the mask and stamping until I get as many raccoons as I want. And remember, because you're masking over some of these raccoons, the ones that you're covering don't get stamped on. Keep adding the little raccoons at different angles. Filling in the spaces. And the Post-it notes take a good bit of ink. So don't worry about the ink bleeding through unless you're using the masks a lot longer than we're using right now. Now, if there are any empty areas that didn't stamp, go ahead and fill in the black marker. Now let's go ahead and color. For this card, I'm going to be using Copics, and I've listed the numbers of the Copics on the screen. These are the colors for the gray. And I'm also going to list the brown when we get to the brown. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit because we're kind of coloring the same thing over and over and over again. And I'll see you on the flip side. Now after all the raccoons are colored, I'm adding shadows behind the raccoons with BV23. Now I'll just color in the noses with some pink. I don't know what it is, pink. And then don't forget to color in the little hands for the sign. I think to make this even cuter, I'm going to add some googly eyes to the guy that's holding the sign. And I'll add a little bit of white highlight to each of the eyes, a little bit of sparkle, maybe some to the noses. And I'll add a little bit of foam tape to the back of the sign. And I'll just place that like he's peeking out behind the sign. Now let's assemble the card. I've attached striped paper to the top of a top folding card base. And now I'm attaching a black mat that I've cut 1/8 of an inch longer and wider than the front panel. I'm going to center that on the striped base. I think I'm just going to add more shadows just to make the raccoons stand out a little bit more. And now I'm adding foam tape to the back of the front panel and placing it on the front of the card. And that's it. We're done. It's so cute. Masking's easy. I hope you give it a try. And if you like this video, subscribe to my channel. Have a great day.